Hello, learners. I'm Mary, and welcome to our reading practice. Today, we will read an article about sports. The main topic is how Lionel Messi is still playing very well in the World Cup. This class is divided into 3 parts. First, a vocabulary practice. This is where we review 5 words related to the article and try to use them in sentences. Next, we have the reading comprehension practice. In this part, we're going to practice our reading skills by reading out loud using the chunking method, or our listening skills by listening carefully. And in the last part, we'll look at more discussion questions to answer to also have a quick review of what we read today. Are you ready to begin? Let's start by reading the first section and reviewing the words we have. Pause the video to read the words, definitions, and example sentences out loud, or listen carefully and repeat after me. Athleticism. Athleticism. A strong natural talent, ability, energy, or enthusiasm for physical activities and sports. Sports should be open to everyone, no matter their body shape, level of athleticism, or age. Dominate. Dominate. To have control over a place or a person, or to be the most important person or thing. An example is, the first team dominated the second set. Gather. Gather. To collect several things, often from different places or people. Example is, I need to gather information to complete our research about sports. Physical attribute. Physical attribute. Something we can see or measure about a person's body, like their strength, speed, height, or endurance. For example, speed is a key physical attribute for a runner. Scan. Scan refers to the act of quickly looking around to get information. An example is, the coach talked about the importance of scanning to his players. Try using the words in sentences. You may comment down below so we can review them together, or feel free to check them yourself using online grammar checker tools. I'll add the links in the description box. Let's move on to the next part. Again, pause the video and read out loud by yourself, or if you're focusing on listening skills, check your pronunciation, listen carefully, and repeat afterwards. Like I said in the beginning, we're using a method called chunking. This is where we divide the article into parts. We read each part and pause to answer a few questions before we continue to the next paragraph. In this way, we can absorb the information easily and improve our comprehension skills at a calmer pace. How is Messi still dominating at the World Cup? Lionel Messi is 39 years old. He is 1.70 meters tall, shorter than almost every defender he plays against. He was never very fast, and he's slower now. And yet, watching this World Cup, you would find it hard to name a player doing more damage. He has scored the equal most goals so far. How can someone with so little of what we might call athleticism compared to others still be the best player on the field? Let's pause and check what we've just read. Answer these questions out loud or feel free to write them down. Who is the athlete this article is discussing? It's very difficult to miss. It's Lionel Messi. We see it in the title and also in the first few parts. But what question is this article trying to answer and share about Messi? Messi is old, short, and slow. The question is, how is he still dominating at the World Cup? Let's go to the next part. Does athleticism really matter? Many are surprised by Messi only because we have been told a story about what makes an athlete great. And the story is mostly about the body, speed, height, strength, fitness. What if soccer was never a contest of physical attributes? Johan Cruyff, the great Dutch player, manager, commentator, and soccer philosopher, saw this idea about speed many years ago. He said, "What is speed? The sports press often confuses speed with insight. If I start running slightly earlier than someone else, I seem faster." This may sound confusing, but a fast player is often not the one with quicker legs. They are often the ones who know when to start running before everyone else. Quick questions before we continue. What are some physical attributes often associated with great athletes? According to the first part, they mention examples like speed, height, strength, and fitness. If that's your answer, very good. And can you tell me who is Johan Cruyff? What did he say about speed? Johan Cruyff was a great Dutch player, manager, commentator, and a soccer philosopher. He mentioned that the sports press often confuses speed with insight. He means that people often mistake speed, which is a physical ability, for insight, which is understanding or intelligence in decision making. The importance of scanning. Think about what happens in the seconds before Messi receives a pass. Watch him for 30 seconds. When the ball is nowhere near him, his head rarely stays still. He looks over to the left shoulder, another to the right, then back to the player on the ball. At first, it might not seem important, but then you realize he's already gathering information that other players might miss or take longer to notice. By the time the ball reaches him, he already knows where the defenders and the teammates are, and where the spaces will open, the control, the turn, the pass that splits the defense. What is Messi doing in the seconds before he receives a pass? He is constantly moving his head to look around. But what is he gathering during this time? He's gathering information about the positions of defenders, teammates, and open spaces on the field. That's right. For more than a decade, we have been studying how soccer players gather information before receiving the ball. Working with athletes from youth academies up to senior professionals, we place small motion sensors at the back of their heads to track how often and how far they turn to look around during a match. We were measuring what we call visual exploration, or more simply, scanning. The finding was consistent and clear. Players who scanned more frequently in the seconds before receiving the ball passed it quicker. They were also more likely to move with the ball to attack instead of passing it safely backward. Additionally, they were more likely to make a forward pass that could really challenge the opposing team. What have researchers been studying for more than a decade? It says here they have been studying how soccer players gather information before receiving the ball. How did researchers track players' head movements during matches? They place small motion sensors at the back of players' head to track how often and how far they turn to look around. What was the finding about players who scanned more before receiving the ball? They passed the ball quicker, were more likely to move forward with the ball instead of passing it backward, and more likely to make forward passes that can challenge the other team. Let's move on to the last part, the skill you can build. Of course, scanning is not the whole story. Technique, experience, and team tactics all matter. But without timely information, those qualities rarely have the chance to express themselves. So, next time someone wonders how a 39-year-old standing just 1.70 meters tall is still dominating a World Cup, watch their head, not their feet. Greatness was never hiding in the body, it was always in the looking. Is scanning the only factor that contributes to a player's success? If you answered no, that's right. It says here in the article that we also have technique, experience, and team tactics. All of them really matter. What does the author suggest doing to understand how players like Messi dominate? The author suggests watching Messi's head, not his feet. Greatness was always found in the looking or scanning, not in the body or physical attributes. Well done on completing the reading comprehension practice. It's time to move on to the last part of this lesson. Let's have a quick discussion and a review of what we read. I'll ask questions one by one. I'll share an example answer. Feel free to write them down or answer out loud. Did you find the article about scanning in soccer interesting? Why or why not? I found the article interesting because it really explained how small actions such as scanning can really make a big difference in performance, especially in sports. It made me think about how I observe and react when playing sports or even in daily life. Do you think scanning is only important in soccer? Can we apply it in other sports or even in our daily lives? I don't think scanning is just for soccer. We can definitely have it in our daily lives, such as being aware of our surroundings, noticing open doors, for example, or even the people around us, especially when we're outside. It can help us make better decisions, I believe. And just like in soccer, it can also open opportunities. The last question is, the article mentions that greatness is in the looking. Do you agree? Please share why or why not. I completely agree with the last point. I thought about chess, for example. Players don't necessarily need to be physically strong. They need to see the board and try to guess their opponent's move. It's more about awareness compared to athleticism or physical attributes that we saw in the article. We have now concluded this lesson. I hope you found the class interesting and informative. Thank you for dedicating your time to study with us today. Like I always say, If you have any questions or any suggestions for future classes, the comment section is always open. Remember to take care and see you again in our next session.